Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman. So something a little bit different today. I just thought I'd make a video to celebrate my 10th anniversary as a YouTuber. So yeah, 10 years ago today, the 6th of February 2014, I uploaded my first video as the Gunman. You should go back and watch it. I'll probably put a link in the description if you want to go back and see the way that my videos have changed. But yeah, in that video, this video here is just going to be off the cuff. I haven't even written down any sort of bullet points or anything of what I'm going to talk about. Just, I guess, have a bit of a reflection on the journey and myself and the channel and how it's evolved over the years. So yeah, I guess a bit of a backstory into why I started this channel and myself and stuff like that. So I started the trade in the year 2000. I started my apprenticeship. And even before that, so my dad, he is, one thing he is a teacher. So he's a qualified teacher, history and English, high school. I think he used to teach, he's taught like grade 10, I think some high school, and he even did some like senior high as well, history and English. So he's got the teaching side of him, and he's also got the hands-on skills as well. So way back in the 70s, he tells us stories of how he used to actually paint, but brush paint, I think, the cranes in the inner city in Melbourne. So yeah, he was up. So they would actually paint the cranes while they're still up, on the high-rise buildings, because they didn't sort of stop, as they're painting them. So like crazy work, right? I guess I say that is because young boys and boys, we model ourselves off our fathers, and so being that my dad. And I think, your upbringing with your parents is, 100 times more valuable than anything that you can learn at school, right? So, and anything that you'll ever learn off anyone can tell you, we model ourselves off our parents, for better or for worse. Some things maybe for worse, but either way. So, he was a house painter and restaurator. As I was growing up, that was his. So he'd pretty much during the 90s, I think in the 80s he was still teaching, but by the time the 90s came around, when I was sort of a young boy, he was house painting and restoration work. So I used to go out onto the job with him heaps. Sometimes I'd just do a full day's work with him out on the job. We'd be paint stripping walls. Painting, and I sort of gained a love for just physical work and painting things, I guess. And then I guess I did my schooling up to year 10. I never really, school was never really my thing. I was never a terrible student. I was, competent, middle of the road. I was just whatever, I was definitely not up the top. I was definitely not the worst. But so as soon as I'd finished high school, I'm like, nah, this is it. I want to get out and want to get into a trade. And originally, because like I told you, my dad was in the building trade. I wanted to get into that. I actually did. So I did a course. What was it? Like a 5-week course, right? So I think we did carpentry, bricklaying, and just painting and all that. And towards the end of it, I'm like, geez, none of it really clicked with me, right? So I don't know, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But look, I would have, if there was an apprenticeship that came up, I would have pretty much taken anything, right? And I did. And it just so happened to be the very last day of that 5-week course, and I got a call. So my parents were originally from Melbourne, grew up in Bendigo and Newstead, which is where my dad's from. He lives there now. But then, so all my extended family is still down here in Melbourne. And then on the very last day of that course thing that I was doing, my mum said, look, your uncle Gary, he's called up, God bless him, he's passed away since, and he said, look, your uncle Gary's called up, there's a job down there for you in Melbourne if you're interested in it, and it's a spray painting. I said, oh, that's it, I want to do that. And mum's like, do you sure you want to get into it? Like, it's a dusty, dirty trade you may not like. And I said, no, that's me. Because I grew up in Bendigo. Like, Bendigo's nothing against it, really. It's a little bit of a boring place. Like, there's not much going on there, It's not yeah, it's not that it's a bad place, but it's, yeah, I'd always liked Melbourne. Like, I always did want to move down to Melbourne as well. So when an apprenticeship came up, year 2000 hits, I was there. So yeah, just, you know, moved out on my own when I was 17. I think that in and of itself can be a good thing, you know, being more independent and, you know, not relying on your parents and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then sort of 10 or 12 years down the track, I moved over there to Perth, right? And then the reason I moved over to Perth was to get a job in the mines, and I did do that for a year so that I could go over to Thailand in my break. So I'd go over to Thailand, and there was at one point I was actually living out of my car, right? So I was even sleeping in, technically I guess you could say I was homeless, but I didn't feel homeless, and I wasn't really, because yeah, most of my time was in the mines, right? Because I'd spend 2 or 3 weeks in the mines, and then I'd come back. Occasionally I'd spend a night or two in my car when I was in Perth, you know, and then I'd go to Thailand, right? But then after that, I guess I tell this story because I had a year off spray painting, right? And that was when I was in the mines. And then originally I was like, okay, it didn't work out over there in Perth. I was going to come back to Melbourne. And then I got a job at Nick and Alberto's. So that was where like the first videos, and I'd probably say most of the content on this channel came from Nick and Alberto's over there in Osborne Park. Shout out to Ange and Frank and all the boys at Nick and Alberto's. That was a really good shop to work at, and they were cool enough to let me do the videos. So I guess what ended up happening is, like I say, I was only planning on, you know, a couple of months, because I don't like being unemployed, right? So after I finished up in the mines, I just thought, look, I'll get a job in Perth just until I sort of organise my life and I can move back over to Melbourne. And after a few weeks in Perth, I was like, man, I love this place. The weather's beautiful, nice and warm. You don't have the humidity that you do have here in Melbourne. People are nice. It's a smaller, more sort of a country town type thing, but it's still a capital city. So, you know, you're not sort of inside each other's pockets. It's beautiful weather, beautiful beaches. You know, I fell in love with Perth, and I still do love it. But I guess I say all that to say that, yeah, once I did start at that job at Nick and Alberto's, I loved that shop. And I guess having a year off made me realize how much I did love the trade, you know. And pretty much everything prior to then, I was a pretty heavy drinker, more like a binge drinker, you know. So I'd, you know, just smash the beers at night. I might have, say, 10 or 12 beers every second night, because the second night, like, I'd have a hangover that day. I'd always make it to work, and I was always a hard worker. But I guess I say that to say that that is sort of why this channel was created in the first place. So I gave up drinking. I had all this extra time on my hands, so I'm like, what am I going to do with myself, you know? And I remembered, like, I'd always wanted to start that YouTube channel. So ever since sort of 2009, I had wanted to. So I looked back, and there was mainly one channel that I remember that I saw it, and I'm like, I could do that. I reckon I could do something like that, right? And that was Refinish Network. I don't think he really uploads. I haven't seen anything from him for a while. He did slow down quite a while ago now, but yeah, Justin, I think Jimmo or something is his nickname, from Refinish Network. So he's a Canadian guy. So shout out to him, you know, thanks for the inspiration for the channel. But you know, like, people are competitive, and I always saw him as like, I wanted to get him, you know, like I wanted to sort of get more subscribers than him, and I did end up getting it around 35 or 50,000 subscribers. I sort of overtook him. But yeah, I guess what I was saying earlier with my dad being a teacher, I think I've always had a sort of a bit of a passion for sharing my knowledge, you know what I mean, and watching other people sort of reach their potential. And, you know, butterfly effect type thing, you know, you can tell someone one thing, and that did happen to me, right? There was one, like, at one point I was getting runs on every single job. It was really annoying me, and that was when I was like a 4th year apprentice. And one guy that I work with, so his name escapes me, but all he said, it was such a basic thing: wind your fluid in all the way, and then come out 2.5 turns on your fluid. And ever since then, it just clicked with me, and I was not getting runs, and it changed my life. So, like, that's why, you know, like, yeah, like I like to share sort of my knowledge, because I know that it only can sometimes take a little thing to make a big impact on other people's lives. So yeah, I do get a lot of that people have, you know, said that, yeah, totally changed their lives, and that's totally awesome. Like that's worth more than any money or anything else that you'll ever get out of being an online creator. But in saying all of that, if you didn't get anything out of it, you wouldn't do it, because there are definitely some negative sides of it. Like I put a lot of pressure on myself. So I think I saw a YouTube video, might have been like 2015 or 2016, someone talking about if you don't keep up with regular uploads, then your channels can die. Like, and or because you'll just drop out of the algorithm, or just the way that it's all set up. And that did actually kind of happen to me. I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but I put myself under heaps of pressure to continually upload a minimum of one a week. But then there was a point, I think it might have been say 2017, 2018 or something, and I did drop a few months or whatever, and it's never been as big. So whether or not that's, you know, correlation doesn't mean causation. It may not be connected, but in, you know, on the other hand, it may have been. But at the end of the day, dude, I still remember the first day. So that, going back to that first time I uploaded that first video, I woke up the next morning and looked at it, you know, and there was 16 views on it, and I was over the moon. I was like, wow, there's 16 people that wanted to watch my content. And then what are we at, like 60 million? I don't look that often anymore. I don't really look at the numbers or anything like that, but I think about 230,000 or something like that, 225,000 or something like that subscribers, and 60 million views approximately. But yeah, I do have the two channels. So I'm counting the Gunman Raw channel, which has got about, say, 5 million views on it. So just amazing, just absolutely amazing. I never could have imagined in my wildest dreams that this channel would have blown up the way that it did. And I think a big part of it is just keeping it real, you know, like I've never really been afraid to criticize things that I think deserve criticism. And as long as my philosophy is, as long as you're staying true to yourself, the rest will sort of follow. So I did learn a few lessons. I've learned heaps of lessons along the way. I think I'm 10 times, if not more, better spray painter than I was at the start. I do get criticised a fair bit for moving around, so that's actually part of the reason why when I moved here, I just wasn't in a mood for all the negative comments and all that. Like I still haven't done a workshop tour, which I will have to do here very soon, because I really don't care about those kind of negative comments anymore. But yeah, like every time I move, I pick something up, and not to mention that, like you move ahead in your life, you know, like I'm selling my skills to an employer, right? And I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't see why you get these people that are miserable in their job, yet they stay where they are. You know, wouldn't you chase better conditions, better pay? You know, like, look at where I'm working. This place is immaculate, man. Everything's brand new. The boss is an absolute legend. You need anything, man, like this is a good example. That thing there, which I think is pretty stupid, you know, it's a $1,000 anti-static gun. Totally unnecessary. But he's the kind of guy, it's like, man, because we were getting some dust, we were having some issues, and I'm like, man, I've heard these things about these static guns. It might be, you know, the final piece of the puzzle that we needed. Turns out it wasn't. I still don't know exactly what was going on, because we're not getting it anymore. We're getting quite clean jobs, but yeah, the mindset of my boss is really, really good. Like, we use all of the top of the line products. There's, nothing's too expensive for him, and it's like quality first, you know. So this was actually the hardest decision out of all the times moving shops. Moving to this one was the hardest decision, because I was so happy where I was. I was like 10 minutes away from where I lived, so, you know, not too much time commuting every day. I was using Standox, which is my favorite paint. You know, PPG would not be my first choice, but in saying that, I actually don't mind it. You know, we had a trainee come in the other day, and I did say to him about PPG. I said, it's pretty user-friendly, you know, because I would guide you in the right direction. Yeah, there's a few things that, you know, I don't necessarily like about it, but it's still it's a pretty good, well usable product, you know. There's some brands out there that you'll never match the colors in. You can always match them in this, and yeah, I've got enough experience that I can get really good finishes with it. But yeah, like I'm happy in life. You know, I'm successful, and this YouTube channel, that's what we're talking about. Like, it's changed my life, you know. I moved over there to Perth, like I was telling you before. I moved over there. When I got there, I was down to my last $500, right? In say 2012 is when I got to Perth. Started the channel in 2014. And I was down to my last $500 when I got there. When I moved back to Melbourne in, was it like 2021 or something? I had 2 houses in my name. So I haven't finished paying them off, but yeah, that's how much of a massive difference this YouTube channel has made to me. Totally changed my life. It sort of moved me up a class, I guess. Like I grew up sort of not necessarily poor, but below, I guess working class. You know, we weren't rich. We didn't always have, you know, the toys that the other kids had. We didn't always have the latest things. We had hand-me-down clothes, you know. So I guess I'm one of those people that do appreciate everything that I've got, and I don't take things for granted, you know, like, and I've also worked hard for everything that I do have, you know. I haven't had any handouts or, you know, you hear of some people that they'll have this big inheritance and then they'll just piss it away because they don't appreciate it, but that's definitely not me. So I don't know what else we've got to talk about. Like, I'm still waiting on another Gunman edition. I want to be able to tell you guys that you can always buy a Gunman edition DeVilbiss, but I still hope that is going to happen. I cannot guarantee if it will happen, but again, I don't know. I'd just like to say a big thanks to Spray Guns Direct for sponsoring this channel. They've been here for a long time, so since 2015, so they contacted me, and that's another thing. Like, I've never gone out of my way. I've never looked for any sponsors, right? I've never asked for anything off anyone. They've always come to me. That's another good philosophy. I think that, yeah, if you're doing well with what you're doing, then things sort of do fall into place, if that makes sense. Like, all these spray guns Direct sent out, and I'm, you know, more than appreciative of it. And yeah, like I say, if you guys do want to get yourself any gear or spray guns, be sure to go and check out spraygunsdirect.co.uk. You can even go and buy yourself some Gunman merch, but I guess I covered most of what I wanted to talk about, and my lunch break is just about over, and I'm gonna have to do a workshop tour here soon, but that's about it, guys. And yeah, another thing that I wanted to say is, like, I hear some people like talking about leaving YouTube, like some big YouTubers I've seen some videos on about leaving YouTube, and I've thought about it, like, what is my future? Like, do I, you know, is it too much? Is it too much pressure or whatever that? But now it's at the point where even like the editing and the computer side of things, like, computers are so much more stable than what they used to be. It's not that much effort for me to sort of make a YouTube video, especially something like this. This is a one take, right? So there's no editing. I just get this video footage, bang, flick it up to YouTube. So this is actually basically a raw video. So yeah, I think it's good, you know, and sometimes it actually can be good for you as a person to sort of put a little bit of pressure on yourself. Obviously not too much, but yeah, sort of, you know, keeping up to that one video a week is, I think it's healthy. It's sort of mental stimulation. It sort of keeps your mind ticking over and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we're gonna have another 10 years. I don't see any reason why I'm gonna stop this. I still love it. And strangely enough, I've been back over on Facebook a fair bit, and as much as I'm not really a massive fan of that platform, yeah, go follow us over there. If you're a Facebook user, I don't use it personally, but I've got a Gunman page over there. The reason it was pissed me off for a while, because they actually, during the lead up to the 2020 election, they deleted my page. It was, you know, collusion between the Democrats, and it's, the word gun it was in my page's name, so anything like Second Amendment just got wiped off Facebook. So that was a censorship. Good on you, freedom of speech. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling on. Gotta get back to work. Love yous all. Till next time, get out there and paint some shit. Let's do another 10 years, baby. Woohoo!